Can you hear me? I think we're good to go here. I am back online. And I've found some shorebirds. First off, got our black skimmers. It's a laughing gull in front, but we've got black skimmers in the background. We are right next to the highway, so excuse the likely excessive traffic noise. But I think we're pretty good. Skimmers they're decent, but what really got me is very close right over here. Find it. There he is. It's a semi-palmated plover. Very cute little plover. It's one of our small ringed plovers. It's got yellow legs and a black and yellow beak and a dark back. And again, we're getting lots of wind noise here, but I hooked up my headset and I think you can at least hear some of it, what I'm saying. There, I'll try and block. I think that is, yeah, that's where the microphone is. I'll put my hand up there. Maybe block some of it, see if that's any better. But over here, that is a western sandpiper. Just slightly bigger than the least, but note the long decurved bill. Semi-palmated would not have that long of a bill, and it would have wind. The semi-palmated sandpiper would have a little bit more streaking around the breast. See if we can find one. This is another semi-palmated plover, so there is both semi-palmated plover and semi-palmated sandpiper. So don't get the two confused. These are semi-palmated plovers. This looks to be another western sandpiper going behind that semi-palmated plover. It's another semi-palmated plover. If we turn over here, I said if we turn over here, we have, let's see, which one are you? Are you a sandwich tern? No, I think that one is a common tern. We get to put the binoculars on it. Or, no, I think that might be a molting gull-billed tern. I'm actually going to have to double check with that one. Sandwich terns have a slimmer beak than that, but it's too chunky looking to be a common tern. The beak isn't usually that big on a common tern, and it's looking a little larger than I would expect for a common tern, but it has a big chunky beak, so that looks like gull-billed tern to me. The one right next door to it, that's just a little bit bigger, that just chirped in its sleep, is a royal tern. And these also look like royal terns down here with that orange beak. If you get one with a bigger, redder beak, that would be Caspian tern, but I don't see one of those out here right now. Here in the foreground, we have a Forster's tern. Let's see, your text. No, I have not gotten to Snoopy's yet. Snoopy's is actually right behind me. I just pulled over here because I saw a bunch of shorebirds when I was getting off the highway. But yeah, so there's semi-palmated, or not, yeah, there's Forster's tern. So if you compare the size of that that one's a little bigger. So I'd be guessing gull-billed. There's a skimmer flying in. You can see that great big beak on the skimmer. Forster's tern in there with him. Let's see what other peeps we've got out here. Looks like you look like a dowitcher. Let's see. Spotted undertail. Dowitchers in winter plumage are, well, they're something. I'd guess long-billed on that one. If it had a little more streaking instead of spotting underneath, I'd lean towards short-billed, but I think long-billed generally like the salt flats out here a little more. We're getting a bunch of little plovers over here. Let's focus in on some of the plovers. Well, that's a sandpiper, another western sandpiper. It's good looking walking towards us. You can see the black legs. You can see the decurved bill. The very light color on the throat and on the face. Semi-palmated. The bill will not really be that long and decurved. Look a little bit more bulbous. The bird itself will look a little more bulbous as well, and it will be darker in the face. You might find one out here. Over here, if I can focus in on it. That looks like a young semi-palmated plover, still pretty dark on the back. There's a ruddy turnstone walking to the right, another semi-palmated plover. But notice how this one here is much lighter colored on the back. It has less severe facial markings. This one I would call a piping plover. Still looks a little young, and it's gone into non-breeding plumage, but it has yellow leg. Oh, and it's banded. This one's banded. Let's see if we can get a look at that band. Well, it's on recording. I think it's Z51. 251, yellow 251, or S51. I'll have to double check the recordings. This is, yeah, or 2S1, 251, and there's nothing I can make out on the silver band. Yeah, I'd say that's a snowy, or not snowy, piping plover. Did I say snowy earlier? Snowy plovers have black legs. This one, very obviously, does not have black legs. So I'd call that a piping. The main difference between semi-palmated and piping plovers is you look at the back. See how brown that is on the back? Semi-palmateds have a very brownish back, while piping plovers have a very light colored back. It's more grayish instead of deep grayish, light gray. And I'm hearing lots of wind noise facing this way. There's a sanderling next to that ruddy turnstone. There's usually lots of sanderling out here. There, cover the mic up, might be a little better. Yeah, that's the little guys you usually see on the ocean front, running back and forth with the waves. There's our little banded piping plover and a ruddy turnstone. And I think that's another, is that a western? Yeah, that looks like another. Let's have a look at you. Yeah. Another western sandpiper. Let's see what's over here. Do one more scan through the skimmers. There's a Forster's tern. There's a royal tern, poking its head out. See, I know there should be sandwich. Oh, there is sandwich tern. Yeah, see that little yellow tip on the beak? They look like they got a little bit of mustard. They took their black beak and they dipped it in mustard. So compare that to the one that we were looking at earlier. That would be the gull-billed tern. Shorter, stubbier, all black beak. Well, this one has a little bit longer, pointier, mustard-dipped beak. Mustard for the sandwich tern. Check that shot. Nice looks at the skimmers. Let's have a zoom in on this guy. See that big beak? If you look at the lower part of the beak, you'll see that it's the lower mandible is longer than the upper mandible. And that is because it skims. It skims through the water with that lower mandible dragging in the water. And it catches fish that way. Whenever it hits something, it'll actually sometimes even skewer the fish and it'll snap it up and then take off and fly to a little perch to eat the fish or just eat it on the wing. There's pelicans flying by in the distance. Skimmers looking around. Lots of skimmers. Another sandwich tern. There's some Forster's terns. More laughing gulls. Is that another laughing gull? Looks pretty dark. Oh no, it's just a funky looking skimmer. It's moved his head in a different direction. Oh, I hear a willet. There's a willet. Willet. Yeah, he flew in backlit, but you might have been able to see the nice white zigzag pattern on his wings when he flew in. There's a couple willets. Very common, larger shorebird down here on the Gulf Coast. Lots of willets. Let's see, there's an interesting looking egret over here. Why do I ever bother to use autofocus? Is this a snowy? Yeah, just a snowy. And there's a great egret further back behind him. And let's do it. Oh, here's a willet. In better light. Just a mostly gray shorebird. But when they fly, they have black and white, nice little zigzag pattern. Oh, and here we go, up nice and close. A least sandpiper. See those little yellow legs? This is our smallest sandpiper. If my camera will ever autofocus, I'll just do it manually. But see how brown it is all down the breast. And it cuts off pretty easily, and it's much smaller than the plovers. And here comes a western sandpiper. So you get a side-by-side comparison of a least and the western. Western is lighter colored. God, the wind. Western is lighter colored on the back. Dark black legs. A little bit longer beak. But compare that to the little least over there. Least is more brown and has the yellow legs and much more brown on the breast. That's a nice little comparison. They're kind of running around, but that's how you'll always see sandpipers. They don't usually hold still that much to be cooperative. But yeah, this is another western. I'm going to scan with my binoculars real quick. Let's find something interesting to put the bird on. I'll just point it at the skimmers. Skimmers are always fun to watch. But I want to put my bins up and scan through the sandpipers to see if I might be able to pull out something different. We might be able to find Semi-Palmated sandpiper. I'm seeing westerns. a little snowy plover, semi-palmated plovers, sanderling. No, I am not seeing any semi-palmated sandpipers out here. It's all westerns. This one, no, that's still a western. Too clean on the face. But I think the semi-palms usually migrate through a little earlier in the season, so most of those might have gone through already. And instead, we're looking at the westerns, which come through a little later. So let's see. Here's a nice close-up western sandpiper. Now this is in their winter plumage. Their breeding plumage, they get a little more colorful. They're still kind of mostly gray, but they've got some reddish gold shoulder patches, a little red on the back, and more barring on the flanks versus the semi-palmated sandpiper, which doesn't have as much barring on the flanks. They look squattier and have more grayish on the back instead of having that reddish. But winter plumage, you do get overlap. They look very similar, western and semi-palmated sandpipers. The beak is one way to look at them. If you see big, long, decurved beak, that's western, like all of these are here. Semi-palmated, shorter, stubbier beak, and darker on the face. They'll have a little bit more markings on the breast, a little darker on the face. But some of them you just can't tell. If they have intermediate coloration and intermediate beak, well, they're just, that's when you call them a peep. The semi-palmated plovers are given a good showing here. The sun's setting off to the right. They get some nice light on them. Let's see, anything else? Yeah, there's that little piping plover. He's bossing around the semi-palm. It's like, I've got a band, I can tell you what to do. It gives me rank and authority. But I think we're doing pretty good on the shorebirds, considering I just pulled off on the side of the highway. These western sandpipers coming real close here. There, that's probably one of the best looks we'll get at a western, at least on this trip. See the long beak? Hear the car trying to prove something. Yeah, this one looks like he might still have a little bit of his breeding plumage on his back. I think I might see a hint of a reddish feather or two, but that could just be the sunset light on him. That's a good looking western sandpiper. Have a look at these guys. Semi-palm plover. Forster's tern. Good diagnostic look at that Forster's tern. You see that big black eye patch. Got some willets. Skimmers, of course, lots of skimmers. Those are the semi-palm plovers flying around and making some noise. I don't know if you can hear them over the wind, but the is just the interaction calls of the plovers. We got our lineup of terns. This is that gull-billed. And the royal tern. Not seeing any Caspians out here. There's a sandwich tern, a with its mustard dip beak. And it looks like another sandwich tern. Laughing gull, royal tern, laughing gull, laughing gull. I think this is a ruddy turnstone behind this bush here. Yeah, there's a ruddy turnstone. Not in its breeding plumage, it doesn't look ruddy, but he seems to be turning stones. Western Sandpiper. Let's have one more look at this. Yeah, long-billed dowitcher. Can't always go on bill length with these guys, but that one, that's a pretty significant bill. So I'd say long-billed on that one's pretty good. But again, wintering dowitchers are sometimes like these little sandpipers. You just call them dowitcher species. You don't have to positively identify every bird you see. Well, I think we did pretty good. The sun is setting over here. Got a nice sunset. I'm not going to shine it directly at the sun, but there's a little sunset over the bay. And right there is where my dinner is. Nice to be able to bird watch and then go right around the corner for some food. Oh, but I'm actually seeing a few more peeps that have wandered in front of my car, so I'm going to take a couple more minutes to scan these little guys. I always like looking at peeps, they're fun. Here's Semi-Palmated Plover. Yeah, this might be... Yeah, that's another piping plover. Notice how much lighter colored the back is. Oh, good. There's a comparison shot. The one on the left, well, the one on the right now, the one in the foreground is the piping plover, and the one in the back is the semi-palmated. Note the difference in colors on the backs of the plovers. Much lighter colored on the piping plover. They both have yellow legs. They've got, this one's got a black beak for its winter plumage, but they'll have, in breeding plumage, they'll both have yellow and black beaks. But this one's a lot lighter color on the mantle on the back of the head, and not as much markings around the face. Compare that guy to over here, where we have a much more darkly marked semi-palmated plover. More dark on the face, much darker on the back. And who else is in the road? I think it's more dowitchers. Indeed it is, more dowitchers. These are looking into the sun, so even harder to figure out what they are. Yeah, since I'm hungry, I'm just going to call them all long-billed. Might come back and look at the video later. See if I can pull a short build out of there somewhere when I'm not hunched over looking at a little screen on the back of a camera. It's this little guy. It's another Western. Point some binoculars down there and see if I can pick out anything different before I call it a night and go get dinner. I'm seeing a couple more piping much further down. Well, this might be semi-palm. Kind of wishing I had my scope right now, but then you couldn't be looking at it. Nah, no. The one in the back's the least. The one in the middle It looks a little darker on the face, but could just be because I'm looking into the sun instead of away from the sun. Yeah, he's got a longer bill. I'm not going to call it a semi-palm. Unless anyone that's watching the video or comes back to watch the video sees anything that can tell it either way. I'm just going to go ahead and call it Western like all the others. There's Semi-Palmated Plumbers. One more pictures taken. But, well, that is finally the end of the day. I'm hungry, and food, shrimp, awaits right over there. So remember to tune in tomorrow morning. I'll be back at the Hawk Watch at 8 o'clock. And subscribe to the YouTube channel and Facebook page, all that stuff. You know the drill. But until then, I will see you later, birders.